Events in the house tonight at 10 o'clock. Before that, on 4, a profile of an international football hero whose gift has been both a blessing and a curse.
Oh, here's Gascoigne. Gascoigne, he can finish it here!
Paul Gascoigne was once England's greatest football mental problems.
The ordinary for him was the twitching and the moving and everything else.
If he liked something, then he would eat it, and eat a lot of it as well. And then he would go to the toilet as well and make himself sick.
A child trapped in a man's body, terrified of the dark and in constant psychological turmoil. He sought escape in alcohol and prescription drugs.
He lived out the bag. He was full of pills, full of everything. And when he come in, he went, "Marzipan, this, that," you know.
Now, as his playing career draws to a close, he's front-page news again. Last week, he told the press he was back with his ex-wife and had won his battle against alcohol. But just how close did Paul Gascoigne come to complete mental breakdown? In the autumn of 1998, a broken man stumbled onto this station. As his friends and colleagues recovered from the excitement of World Cup action in France, Paul Gascoigne, thrown out of the squad, waited for a train to Middlesbrough, the latest club to take him in.
He'd just come back from a drinking binge in Dublin. He was standing on Stevenage station one day and by all accounts was contemplating throwing himself off. Life was passing him by at this point and he was in a lot of pain and didn't know what to do with that pain.
Not for the first time, a concerned manager took drastic steps to save the troubled star.
He was in a bit of a mess, and that's what I tell. And I actually took him to the Priory Clinic to help Gaz. I think he took certain things out of that. He didn't take it totally on board at that time.
Will you stop drinking, Paul? Will you stop drinking?
If you say so, yeah.
No, what I mean is, you know...
Yeah, I will do, yeah.
Is one of the things you've decided to do is to stop drinking?
Yeah.
Thought, here we go, he's going to get help now, you know, this is it. This is it, you know, he's had enough. He's probably forgot about that now. You know, and that's why he's not getting better.
That was 1998. Gascoigne still had a high-profile career, but he was on a downward spiral that would eventually see him playing for anyone that would have him.
Lonely, pitiful, pathetic, wandering round the world trying to find a football club that will take him on because he cannot bear to be without his first drug, which is football.
At 36, he was the star of a team at the wrong end of the Chinese second division. Still drinking, he was soon in America trying to dry out. He returned to London, wearing the name of a brewer, flaunting his illness. Will he ever find peace?
Throughout his life, Paul Gascoigne seems to be subject to the same cycle of influences and behaviour again and again and again, which he may be aware of, but hasn't yet developed the will and the insight to overcome.
Newcastle, 1971. 4-year-old Paul's dream came true when he was given his first football. It was to change his life forever. Paul gained admission to a world of backstreet soccer. Like the other kids, he had sparky Geordie verve, but he had something else as well. A breathtaking, instinctive talent. It was to be a blessing and a curse.
For the gifted person, there's forever a search for meaning and understanding their place in the world. And an individual like Paul Gascoigne, who, blessed with a gift, didn't have to work for it. And therein lies one of the problems that Paul Gascoigne has faced throughout his career, is to be able to value the talent that he's got.
The problem with the gift is protecting it, acknowledging it, owning it, and everything that goes with that. I'm not sure Paul Gascoigne ever knew how special this talent he had was and what he needed to do to protect it.
I think he understood the gift in superficial terms, but not how to etch it into history. If you've got his talent, you've got to be footballer of this year, of next year, and of the year after.
Paul Gascoigne played too few games, lost too many opportunities. But before his mental problems robbed us of his talent, he was England's world-class player.
People have said that Gaza was like bordering on a genius. And to be fair, in his sort of walk of life in football, he probably was.
In terms of trickery, in terms of the ability just to take other players out of the match, it's as good as any Englishman's ever had.
He is one of the best players that this country's ever produced.
He was a star off-pitch as well. The Clown Prince of football was a constant source of photo opportunities. A cheeky Geordie who came with a supporting cast of Tyneside caricatures. The tomfoolery wasn't just for the cameras either. Behind the scenes, his teammates were in stitches.
When I first met Paul, I thought, like everybody else, that he's a lunatic.
He's just absolutely mad. I mean, you've got to say that.
You know, at school, I likened him to the boys at school, whereby they'd always be like a naughty little cheeky boy everybody loved, but who just had to cause trouble.
And with his teammates in the dressing room, he'll cut the legs off trousers and put the socks in toilets and things like this.
He'd go through all your belongings, and he'd go through your books, and he'd go through your toilet bag, and he'd pinch things, and he'd take things out, and he'd run away with things, and it was like a magpie at times.
The daft pranks and everything, he just couldn't help himself. I mean, he just had to do them all the time.
Thanks very much.
In 1988, he was selected for the England team. Seasoned professionals got their first intimate contact with the boy wonder. They noticed his tension, the inability to relax.
He just could not sit still for longer than, 60 seconds.
He's hyper. I mean, there's no getting away from it.
I'll go for a run, so he'll come for a 5-mile run with me, and then after, if somebody else wants to play tennis, he'll play tennis with them, and he will just do whatever is happening.
And we'd know from the waiters the next day that he'd be in the pool at 3 o'clock in the morning just swimming. I think he had to try and get a level of tiredness in his body, and if he felt tense and he felt nervous, he had this energy inside him that he had to get rid of.
Bobby Robson was forever saying to him, Gaza, you're not swimming anymore. Gaza, we've done everything today. Just rest. But he couldn't. He just had to be hyper all the time.
Teammates saw that the complexities of tactics, analysis and planning were lost on him. They noted his microscopic attention span and his disruptive behaviour in team briefings.
He would just completely frustrate Paul. And he would be like, little naughty boy at the back of the class, making noise, fooling around, throwing things at the teacher, making everyone laugh. For someone who loved football, he hated talking about football. Hated it. And if you ever asked him a question, he'd put his finger in his ears and he'd just go, blah, not interested.
There was one occasion, I think Bobby was going through the team that we were playing. We're working out this team and who we need to mark. Everyone looks around, because it was Gaza. Just lets off in the middle of a very, very serious meeting.
At certain times you'd look and you'd go, Gaz, you've got to draw the line somewhere along the way.
Out on the pitch, as ever, Paul Gascoigne, the centre of attention.
He was a clown, and they loved him for it. But according to a leading authority, his antics sound like symptoms of a debilitating neurological illness.
Looking at Paul, one sees certain characteristics: manic energy, inappropriate behaviour, childish behaviour, and seemingly kind of boundless energy. Now, those things together are the core of attention deficit disorder.
The cat sat on the wall.
The brain is over-aroused, and the brain is organised in such a way that it's very difficult to concentrate, to keep your mind on one thing at a time. And those centres in the brain which are responsible for controlling behaviour are less well developed. The inability to attend, to concentrate, and the inability to control your behaviour can cause major problems.
But there was another separate disorder that plagued Paul Gascoigne, one that paradoxically helped make him a star. When he was interviewed in 1990, it was clear that football was more than a game. It was an obsession.
I love playing football, love it. I live for it. I even train. The train's even better because there's not as much pressure, and you enjoy yourself with the lads. But I love Saturdays as well, especially if you get your winner.
He lives, breathes, eats, sleeps football. He's like a kid. If we said to Paul, do you want to go out and play football at midnight in the garden when we were in the hotel the night before a game, he would do that. He was just so into football.
He is so obsessive. He's obsessive in everything that he does. He wants to be the best in everything that he does. And he'll practice and he'll work and he'll work and he'll work until he is number one.
Throughout his career, Paul has suffered from obsessive compulsive disorder, an illness where terrifying anxiety is relieved by repetitive behavior. In 1993, he spoke of the most famous symptom, obsessive tidying.
The other day I threw a towel down, and I looked at the towel, and it shouldn't have been in the position I wanted it. So I went back and put it in the position, walked away, and I thought, no, I thought it was better the way it was. I try and stop these daft things because I think I drive people mad, but this thing with the towel the other day drove me balmy. I tried to get out the door and shut the door, and I just kept on thinking of it. I ended up straightening up the towel again.
OCD's much more than the behaviours which you see, such as straightening towels or washing your hands. OCD is a condition with very, very pervasive and deep-reaching anxiety and leads to torment. It's a condition which is with the individual all day and every day. It really is a disorder with terrible handicaps and terrible torment attached to it.
Obsessive-compulsive disorder is a genetic illness that can lie dormant, but it can also be triggered by specific events.
When one assesses someone with OCD, I look for episodes of stress and trauma. With most mental health problems, the worst time to suffer trauma is in your late childhood and adolescence.
Just one traumatic childhood incident could have ignited an illness that has caused a lifetime of suffering. While he was still a boy, Paul Gascoigne endured 3 of them.